about 2 weeks earlier, I'd been traveling back from London home, and my wife picked me up, and we got into the car, and we had planned to go and have a brunch at my favorite little spot. They do amazing Cuervo's Rancho sauce. I was very excited. And she said, let's go straight home. I've made sandwiches. And she doesn't make great sandwiches. So I said, no, I think the brunch is a better option. And she said, no, there's something that I need to tell you. And I said, is it bad? And she said, yes. And I said, is it about the marriage? And she said, yes. We drove for about 5 minutes in silence, and then I went to put my hand on her lap, and she said, don't touch me, because you won't want to after I've told you what's happened. And that's whenever it dropped. And I remember that 10-minute drive back home then felt like an eternity. I was just looking out the window. And we got home, and I said, what's happened? And she said, I've been having an affair with a man from work. And I remember just tears began to stream. I didn't move, completely motionless. Tears began to stream. And then she said, and that's not all. And she said, I'm pregnant with this child. And in that moment, I felt like I lost a lot. You know, I'd lost my wife. I'd lost the life we created. I'd lost the dog, our home, my parents-in-law, her family, everything that I'd really held dear. If someone said, what makes a meaningful life? I would have described these things. And it felt like they'd just been snatched away, just came crumbling down like a house of cards.
So here's something we've known for a very long time, that women have had it harder dealing with breakups much more than men. But in the light of recent events, it appears the situation is beginning to actually look very, very well. Researchers have actually found out that breakups hit men considerably harder than women. And here's why. So they found out that heartaches, feelings of regret, and even tears were surprisingly common in the male respondents compared to their female respondents. And again, owing to the notion that masculinity requires and presents men as unemotional beings, it appears that there is a significant paucity of experience in men when it comes to processing and handling negative emotions. And this accounts for why most men will actually be eaten up by their own unhealthy emotions than actually shared with friends. But the situation is very much different with women, because women tend to usually have a very powerful emotional system, which is fostered by their families and then their friends. And so the researchers actually found out that women do not necessarily recover quickly than men, but then they recover more fully than men. Generally, when anybody experiences a heartbreak and does not fully heal, it becomes an emotional baggage that they transport into their new relationships. This accounts for why some men, when they have had a very bad heartbreak, would enter into new relationships without the idea of actually pursuing commitment, because they are actually out for revenge, or they are there just to play. However, when a woman is not fully healed and tends to copy this idea of playing like what a man would generally do, it becomes much more dangerous, because honestly speaking, when a woman wants to cheat, man, it is very hard. It is very hard to catch a woman cheating. In all of this, we need to learn that we have to fully heal from breakups, because whether you like it or not, breakups do happen. And when it does, you need to heal properly. You owe yourself that much to heal properly and not go about living in the past and becoming a victim of another person's memory. That's not right. Anyway, so in this episode, we spoke generally about breakups and how to go about handling breakups when you have experienced one. I urge you, as always, to subscribe and share this content with your friends. Let us grow together as a family. And God bless you as you enjoy the episode. I'll see you after the video.
I think that even in the clinic, a lot of men that I have seen who were depressed, the cause was because they were broke, they were unemployed, they were financially distressed. That is kind of very common to push men to that state. Of course, there are many other factors. There are a lot of social factors and how people handle things and cope Yes, so there may be a history of depression in the family. That means genetically you may be prone to it. Yes, but something will push it to manifest, and a lot of them are some of these social issues that rises up. I think that more than 50% of men I manage with depression, the one of the outstanding causes is actually socioeconomic, financial.
Yeah.
You think they wise?
Kiki, long time. How are you now?
Man, I'm passing through a lot. Well, forget about me, Jerry. How are you?
I'm fine, no. As you can see.
Sydney, how far now?
I did alright, bro.
You sure say you did alright?
Yeah. I did alright.
You be mumu. You think say you did wise?
Have you
Yeah,
seen a guy
certain.
broken-hearted?
So I have seen not a lot. I can remember one very well clearly now, and maybe about two others, men who came with, very distressed from brokenheartedness. So it can happen. That's why I said a lot of other factors, the man's own temperament and their own emotional makeup. So it can happen. It's not that it cannot happen,
Honestly,
but you
the
find
reason I
more
find that
women
more
with
dangerous.
broken heart
brokenheartedness from relationship issues.
More common is with the socioeconomic, but the more fatal, I think it's more with the. I'm not giving an expert, but I'm just giving
Your heart is
experiential
broken.
knowledge. Because when guys get heartbroken,
Yeah.
the women tend to have a support system.
Yeah.
They will check up on you,
Yeah.
find out how you're doing. Even
Yeah.
guys who are
Oh,
female
you'll be
friends
well.
will check up on you. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
But let a guy get heartbroken. Look,
they laugh at you.
I'm serious. But it's
it
not like
depends.
how support.
But you see, sometimes it even helps you.
It's supposed to. The idea is not to laugh at you generally.
Yeah.
It's supposed to bring you
if
out of
if
it.
they come
So-
at you to
So I think
please, but
it's in its
in a
way
way to
another
get
form
it
of
out,
social support,
then
because
it's fine.
I mean, if Harry, for instance, should be heartbroken, my first response is not sympathy.
They're going to laugh at you.
Oh, it's laughter punctuated with moments of sympathy.
So the situations are important.
Yeah.
You have to use the laughter to bring him out.
Yeah.
So that he also laugh back.
Yeah.
And let him know that.
But I think the problem is when he's isolated
yeah.
and
Yes.
there's nobody around to help him,
Get through the
get
whole
through them.
process.
Yeah.
But brokenheartedness is real though.
Yeah.
Look, I see.
Have you been brokenhearted?
Honestly, no. I'm only asking because I think I heard it that women, more of the cases that come to the psychiatry ward are women who have had relationship with
Yeah,
someone.
yeah.
But see,
So
this
for
thing-
women, that would be the most common issue or trigger to their crisis.
Okay.
Mostly relationship issues, marital issues, brokenheartedness.
I think I remember we were on one of the topics we handled. I think the relationship X thing. Sarah was talking about how that sometimes most people in relationships, they isolate themselves from the rest of the world. So they create an island of pleasure for themselves. And so the moment their object of pleasure is no longer in the picture, they are left. And then when people don't come around to support, then they set into they get into yes. So I mean, I think it's something that especially the youth should learn, that simply because you're in a relationship doesn't mean that you should isolate yourself from everyone else. I remember when I was in first year, there was this incident that happened where a girl at Brunei jumped from one floor and she died because she found her guy with another girl. And I mean, I think about it like when the pictures came out, this is a really fine girl. If she had given herself like a week or two, I mean, boys are boys. She would have had another option.
On that point, so this is probably a young lady, adolescent. There is a period where they are so impulsive, you don't take time to think. So I don't even say this girl may not have had a support system, but her mind was thinking at faster speed, and the executive control of the brain, where you think about everything that's happened and your next actions, wasn't there. So it was just like a momentary reaction. I'm doomed. My guy is with another lady. Let me just end it all. And so that is also one cause of suicide, especially in young people, where they are impulsive and they are not able to sit down to process things in their minds well before they act. And we get a lot of that, especially in the teens to the early 20s. Like, we get a lot of that because usually it says that the brain matures fully in 2 decades. So it's after 20 you can really start thinking so well. That's called executive functions of the brain. So I'm very, very sad to hear the story of this young lady, but I think she acted so impulsively. They didn't take time to think.
So in a situation like what can we do? What can we do to help people around that age bracket that are very impulsive?
Yeah, for that age bracket, I mean the adolescent group, I work with them because I'm specialized in children and adolescents, and they are another population that needs a lot of focus. So a lot of times we need to get them to have, some support systems around them, and at least one person that they can talk to. One person that can be a counselor,
confident,
could even be a peer, so far as that other peer is also, matured in thinking. And because a lot of them are do not want to open to their parents, and then their siblings, they feel they are their own grown people, so they should also be left alone, and also it kind of creates a gap for when they are in distress and need to find help. So we, especially for those in school, we try to stimulate peer counselors around them who are their own peers, so that in crisis they can quickly call on to. But there should be a lot more education for them, because naturally they are more likely to be impulsive. Yes, that is the natural, that's like the biological thing, but psychosocially we need to educate them. We need to let them know their value. This girl may have, like you were saying before, have lived her life around that individual and think that her being and her identity dwells on that person. So once that person is looking at somebody else and out of the picture, means that she has an identity crisis. She doesn't value herself. So it's about helping young people to find their worth, find their value, and be able to know how to manage their relationships, and know that heartbreaks and broken hearted are part of life. They are part of relationships. So when they come, how do you manage? How do you go through? They need coaching. They need mentoring. They need advice.
There's actually a song that says that the heartbreak there, everybody you go reach your turn.
You should pass through so that I'm suspecting you know how the heartbreak before.
No. I've had disappointment, but not heartbreaks.
Okay, so
not heartbreaks because I was not fully invested in the thing.
Okay, good. So at least the disappointment is close to. It's good that you don't have a heartbreak. So let's say in our definition we may be using heartbreak for where the thing has really got your heart into that you can't sit up again. But yeah, we are looking at heartbreak now in relation to being disappointed. But then being able to manage it to the point where you don't get down with a whole lot of mental health distress.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask is, especially in relationships, people now currently it's not the norm, but a lot of people are into. So you go into a relationship and you don't want anybody to know about it. You and your girl. You've created a whole universe for yourself, and then you sideline everybody else. I'm asking because of the example we gave before. And such relationships, typically they want to have their own bliss. They don't want people to be aware. If it's in a church setting, typically you have your pastor or somebody you mentally look up to become a governor or an instructor in the relationship, somebody that you can report to, all of that. But currently, as we have, people don't have that. They don't have people they talk to. They are just into each other. And if anything happens, I'm wondering whether such relationships are toxic or they are just a different form of relationship that is now acceptable, or I don't know.
I think it can turn into toxic if there's no one around to be an oversight, or to be that person that the two of you can look up to or call upon. I don't think there should be any relationship that it should be I and you alone. Yes, the relationship is between you and I, but we need our own support system in that relationship. We need a support system around us, so that if there, because relationships are going to have issues. It's this it quotes young teen kind of love and infatuation in the early period that you think that it's I and this guy and our world alone. But the reality of life is all the issues that arise in relationships, and if you don't have an external person having oversight of the two of you, I mean, at least even culturally, our parents are supposed to at least be in know, so that you don't know what you are going to go into or what you will meet in life, what crash you will meet in life. You cannot just have nobody. So such a relationship is likely, yes, to have toxicity in the process. It's likely to crash, because when there's an issue, there's nobody to really look up to even come in to help, matters. And if something happens to one person, it means that you think you are gone, your life is over. Well, it shouldn't be like that. So please, especially to the young people, the world is not about only you and your guy or you and your girl. You need to build around.
I remember some time back, something like this came up, and I think Pastor Obed made a certain comment that usually when people want to keep something secret, abuse is inevitable.
Yeah.
And one of the
So
things
there's no oversight.
yes, and one of the things I realized is that in life, information and access to information is very important. And for instance, our perspectives and understanding of things grow based on the information available to us. Sometimes you may be undergoing a certain form of abuse without even realizing it, because you haven't been educated on it. And the moment you become awakened to it, you realize that no, this person has been abusing me for a very long time. And what makes some of these things thrive and possible is when the person is able to isolate you from any information that can highlight about. So it's actually very dangerous for you to keep a relation. And usually the thing is, what is the motive for the decision to keep it secretive? Because I mean, the pivot, the climax of every relationship in our society is marriage. When it comes to boy-girl relationship, and no marriage is secretive, no marriage is private, because when you are going to marry, you are basically embracing the person's entire family. Of course, the person is also embracing your family.
That's a typical African thing. That you are entering a relationship or even a marriage. What happens is that you are not marrying the person, you are married into the family.
Into the family,
you are marrying everybody else in the family, and they must have a say in what you do.
It's important you get to know how. You see, sometimes you won't even realize how the person thinks until you meet his friends. The friends can actually let you realize that no, this is the end goal of what probably this guy is saying.
It's true.
You see, it's very dangerous. And honestly, growing up, I realized that if I had certain information like the information that I had now, if I had them at an earlier age in my life, I would have made better decisions for myself.
Of course.
And with regards to relationship, with regards to finances, with regards to a lot of things. So cutting people off because of a relationship is extremely dangerous. And you can slow your progress as an individual, both spiritually, academically. You can actually impede a lot of progress in your life, especially if the person you are dating becomes a stumbling block, a blockade. You are doomed. You are doomed.
It can be very doomed.
Yeah, because what essentially happens is that you are now left as an island, and when the person leaves you on the island. There's nobody else to come to you and help. You cannot really seek help, for which reason like the lady will jump and kill herself and all that. All right, thank you so much for watching and also subscribing and then sharing with your friends. I'll see you in the next episode, but before that, I encourage you, please, you can reach out to us via the email that's provided, or you can also put down your comments in the comment section. Let's get interactive. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next episode.